Handicapper Steve here, handicapping the racing from Meydan Racecourse here on Saturday. It is March 26th, 2016. Go look at the Dubai World Cup, which is race number 9. Before I get on to that, remember to please follow me on Twitter at HorseRacingKid5 for more selections. If you want the undercard, the other races for Dubai, I'm going to make a separate video because if I put both races, the Dubai World Cup with all the other races I'm going to look at, the video is going to be like 3 hours, so I'm going to split up the videos. This race, I'm only going to look at, like I said, race number 9, which is the $10 million Emirates Airlines Dubai World Cup. We have, for Northern Hemisphere breds, 4-year-olds and upwards, Southern Hemisphere, 3-year-olds and upwards, traveling the distance of 1 mile and 1/4 over the dirt at Meydan. 2,000 meters. And I'm going to go through every horse in this race. I really think that's a good thing to do here. I'm going to give you my 2 cents on every horse. So let's get on to it. Starting off with the 1 horse, Key Nice, who I have at 20-1 here in the American odds. Ryan Moore for Dale Romans out of Curlin, who won this race, I believe, in 2008 at Nat Al Shiva. His daddy won this race quite a few years ago now. 8 years ago now, I think. Ryan Moore on this horse for the second time. But last time out on the 5th of March in the Al Maktoum Round 3, a mile and a quarter here at Meydan, this horse finished 7th by 11 3/4 lengths that day, and he didn't move at all. It was a very disappointing run for this horse. He didn't have Lasix for the first time in his career, so maybe that had something to do with it. Also, probably what had to do with it also was the travel. He's never traveled outside the United States, so that's a big question. That was a big thing also. Is this horse good with Lasix? A lot of the American horses don't really fire without Lasix because every horse in America gets Lasix, which I think is just a shame. I think they shouldn't give horses Lasix unless they desperately need it. But if they don't need it, don't give the horse. Like, if you look at all the horses in America at the moment, first-time starters getting Lasix. I believe first-time starters shouldn't get Lasix. See how they do after that. If they need it, they need it. If they don't, good. But so he didn't run at all that day. And then the Don Handicap, first start of the year for this horse, February 6th at Gulfstream Park in South Florida. Finished 6th by 4 lengths. The eventual winner that day, Mashwish, is running back in this race. He's the 2 horse, but this horse was just wide all throughout. Had a slight bit at the end of the race, but it was a little bit too late. Mile and a quarter is the perfect distance for this horse. But his last race really put me off. Maybe if they had like a super high 5, I would put him 5th, but I don't have him on any of my tickets for like Superfecta or Trifecta. I don't think he's that good. I think there are a lot better horses from all across the world in this race. He did beat American Pharoah. That's one thing he did do in the Travers, and because he had a mile and a quarter distance, really closed well. But I just don't like his last race. It puts me off. I'm not going to put him on my ticket. He'll have to do a lot to win tomorrow. That's my 2 cents on Key Nice. But the 2 horse, Mashwish, with Frankie Dettori for Todd Pletcher. Frankie Dettori won this race about 10 years ago now. 2006 was the last time he won it for Godolphin, I believe. Can't think of the horse. I can't think of it. It's at the end of my tongue. God, no, I just can't think of it. This horse, Mashwish, owned by Al Shabab, have him at 8-1. Todd Pletcher, Medaglia d'Or. I believe he ran this race in 2003 or 4. I believe so, but could be wrong also. But this horse, Mashwish, they ran him. I want to go back to a race first, which I think was the changing point. They ran him in the Breeze Cup Mile at Keelan, 1 mile on October 31st. Finished 4th by 1 1/4 lengths that day. And he was closing up good that day. He's a turf horse. They were running him exclusively on turf before that, and I have to say it was a decent 4th place finish. After that, they thought, that Cigar Mile's coming up here in New York. Oh, we'll run him in that. And he finished, for his first start on dirt, he finished 4th by 1 1/4 lengths. Tonelist, who won the Belmont Stakes a few years ago, ran his heart out. Very nice win for Tonelist. But this horse had a decent 4th place finish also. He was a little wide, but, it was a very good start. And then at Gulfstream Park, 1 mile in the House Hope Stakes on January 9th, won by a neck. Was stalking, it was up and near the lead. Wasn't, he was like 3rd. But he was drifting, but he really ran very, very nice that day. And then in the Don Handicap, I think he proved himself. He won by 2 lengths, and it was a very nice victory. I had a lot of money on him that day, also, and he ran exceptionally well. He's a definite use. I have him on a ticket here. Actually ran in Meydan at Meydan last season, actually in the Dubai Turf, finishing third behind Solo in the Dubai Turf, or the duty free. It will always be the duty free in my eyes, the Dubai duty free. And he ran a good third, but it was a field of like 10 horses. But it was a nice start for this horse. Gets Frankie Dettori, which is a plus. Should really run well today. Have him, like I said, I have him on a few tickets. Is bred to go on dirt. His last few dirt races were good. Has the dirt mile and a quarter distance in his pedigree. Should really do well. So going to put this horse on a few of my tickets. Let's go to the next horse, the 3-horse Gun Pit, an Australian bred horse with Zhao Moria from the Hong Kong to ride this one. He's at 30 to 1 here in the odds. Last time out in the Al Maktoum round 3 challenge, finished second by 4.5 lengths, and he had a decent second place finish. Who won that day was Special Fighter, who won unexpectedly, who won, and his odds was like like 1,000,000 to 1. But this horse had a decent second place finish. He was really he was very game that day. Looking back at the replay, he was very nice. Then that was the horse's first start in about a month. Then I shot in Hong Kong on the 6th of February, mile on the 8th, in the Century Vase Group 3. Finished 6 by 2 lengths. It was a long shot that day, and I don't know, he didn't do that good. This horse, if they get a torrential rainstorm and the track is wet, play this horse. He's 6 for 6 over a wet course. That's something I noticed. If it rains, I'll be very surprised. But if it does, play this horse on a wet surface. 6 for 6. His last win on a wet surface, or his last win period, was on at Shotton November the 18th in Jackson Handicap for $300,000. Was a heavy favorite and won easily by 2 lengths. But I think he'll have to do an awful lot to win here today. His last race was decent, but he's facing a lot tougher horses today. So yeah, he's not on any of my tickets. But like I said, if it rains, I'll switch it. I'll put this horse on a ticket. I might even play a few bucks to win on this horse because his wet surfaces record is really good. But doubting the rain, I don't think this horse will be that good. But so yeah. So now let's get on to the 4-horse Mutahij, 15 to 1 with Christoph Simeon for Mike DeCock, and I really like this horse. He came over last season to run it in the Triple Crown, ran 2 out of 3 races in the Derby he ran and in the Belmont Stakes. Finished 8th in the Derby by 9.5 lengths and had a whole bunch of traffic trouble. Broke in at the start, getting dirt in his face, which he never did before. He was always on or near the lead, and he I don't know if he liked it that day. So yeah, start after that was at Belmont in the Belmont Stakes. Finished 4th by 7.75 lengths that day, and he just didn't have a late closing kick that day. I don't know. He wasn't catching American Fair, who just ran his heart out to a very good win to win the Triple Crown and the Belmont Stakes. But after that, they took this horse to give this horse a break. They took him back February the 4th of this year. First start back, Meydan Mile in the Fire Breaks Stakes Group 3 race that day. Finished 5th by 4.25 lengths. And he didn't really move at all that day. It was a disappointing run. And then in Meydan, I really thought this horse was really going to improve on March the 5th in the Al Maktoum round 3. Finished 4th by 7.5 lengths. Again, he just didn't move at all. I think today he should really improve. I do have him on my ticket. He might even be a top selection for me. He won over the surface. Last win came the UAE Derby last World Cup Carnival night last year, and he won by 8 lengths and just really won very impressively, and won the Al Bashti last season by 2.5 lengths. Gets Christoph Simeon back on. Should really watch out for this one. Like the price here, 15 to 1 in the American odds. Gonna put him on my ticket with a few horses. So let's get on to the 5-horse, who is Special Fighter, who is 15 to 1, who had the upset victory last time out and made on the 9th of on the 5th of March in the Al Maktoum round 3 challenge, won by 4.5 lengths, and his odds are just monstrous that day, and he just won pretty easily. A very nice victory for this horse. Fernando Yara, who used to ride here in New York, now he rides in the Middle East sometimes in South Florida, sometimes here. But his last victory was pretty easy for this horse. Then start four that was on the 4th of May on the 4th of February at Meydan Mile 3/16 in the Al Maktoum Challenge Round 2, Group 2, finished sixth by 12 lengths. The eventual winner frosted back into this race today, and he just didn't move at all. And then in the Meydan Soba Stakes on the 21st of January, this horse won by 5 lengths, and he was running very good. I think he was just lucky with last few weeks ago in that race. I don't think he's going to get that lucky again. On the dirt, this horse is 6-3. I don't have him on any of my tickets. Like I said, he'll have to do a hell of a lot to win. So, with that said, let's get on to the 6 horse, who is Candy Boy, 50-1, making his first start since last year's Dubai World Cup here at Meydan Mile and Quarter. Finished fourth by 9 1/4 lengths, and he was just he didn't have that late closing kick that day. This horse is a closer. I actually had him in 2014 on my Derby watch list because I believe this horse is a Derby closer, and he should have really ran well, but he didn't. He finished 13th by 12 lengths, closing a little bit at the end, but well, not closing, but he held his own, finishing 13th. As I contradict myself, but he hasn't run in a year. He had a slight illness, I believe. Doug Watson said, so they couldn't get a prep race in. I have him on my ticket because I've always been a fan of this horse. He'll have to do a lot, but if he gets a great trip, he's always had a bad trip also and just lost. If he gets a great trip, watch out for this one, 50-1. I'm just going to take. I love the price on this horse. Who doesn't? If he does well, he should really run great. An example of him running a closing victory is in the West Virginia Derby of 2014. He was closing really nice to second place finish by a nose, and he just missed the winner, who was Tapiture. And then in the Breeze Cup Classic of 2014, this horse finished sixth by 5.5 lengths, and he had just had a horrible trip. Was 5 wide, was closing a little bit, but it was a little bit late after that horrible trip. He was previously trained by John Sadler. He actually finished. I want to go back to a race now. 2013. He actually finished second in the Cash Call for Charity at Hollywood Park. May Hollywood Park rest in peace. Beating. He finished second behind Shared Belief, who may rest in peace also. But if this horse gets a good run tomorrow, watch out for this one. Biggest question is the layoff. That's something, a year layoff and running in this big of a race. He'll either be very tired or be raring to go. So I'm going to put him on my ticket with a few horses. So, yeah. So now let's get on to the 7 horse in this race. The 7 horse here, Vandamos, a French-bred horse with Vincent Chimadod for Andre Farb. Last time out, ran at Chantilly on the 3rd of March in France. 1 mile on the all-weather surface in a Prix Montier Stakes, finishing second by 1.5 lengths behind Solo. Almost got to Solo. Didn't almost get to Solo. He ran his heart out for a second-place finish. Wasn't catching Solo, but a very nice second-place finish for this horse. Then the Champion Stakes at Ascot, a mile and a quarter on the 17th of October. Finished 13th by 36 1/4 lengths, and he just weakened that day. Don't know what happened to this horse. Making his first start here at Meydan. I think this horse, looking at his running lines, I think this horse should really run well. I have him on my ticket. His races in France have been pretty good. He won actually a race back at Germany in Baden-Baden on the 3rd of September, and the Darley Renman Stakes, Group 3, won by 5 lengths, won pretty impressively. But I think this horse, I kept going back to him. I think he should run a really nice race here. His last race against Solo was a very nice second place finish. You could throw out the Ascot race. And yeah, I just really think this horse should really run well today. Like I said, so I have him on my ticket for a few places. Might even put a few sneaky bucks to win on him. But so there's my 2 cents on Vandamos. Number 8, who is Hoko Truma, who is coming in from Japan to run with Hidaki Miyoki to ride this one. Never heard of him before, but looking at this horse, he is at 20-1. believe, yeah, I don't have him on any of my tickets. Last time out at Kawasaki on the 27th of Japan, mile 5/16 in a Kawasaki Kinin Stakes. Won by head that day. I have to say it was a nice victory. I couldn't really. I was watching some replays. I found them on YouTube, and really can't speak Japanese, so and it's really hard to see numbers sometimes. So I just saw him. He had to win, so he just got it that day also. So it was a decent race of what I saw of him. Then I had Ohai in Japan on the 29th of December, monoquarter in Tokyo the Stone Stakes. Finished second by 1 3/4 lengths. He was a heavy favorite also that day, and he earned a decent second place finish. And then I want to go back to the Japan Cup Turf Dirt, or the Champions Cup now it's called, at Chiyoko on the 6th of December at a mile and eight. It's finished fifth by 2 lengths. Really nice fifth place finish. Ran twice here in Dubai. Running last season in the Dubai World Cup. This horse finished fifth by 9 1/4 lengths that day, and just weakening towards the end of the race against a lot tougher horses. Ran this race back in 2014 when it was on the Tapeta, and this horse finished 16th, and he just did nothing. So yeah, I think this horse will have to do a hell of a lot to win again. So yeah, I just don't think he's good in Japan. I just don't think the spot is good for this horse. So with that being said, let's move on to the 9 horse Frosted at 2 to 1 here in the American odds. William Buick for Kieran McLaughlin. Last time out ran on the 4th of February, mile and 3/16 in the Al Maktoum Round 2 Challenge. Won by 5 lengths that day and won pretty impressively. Excuse me. Hopefully I don't lose my voice after talking for 16 minutes. Won easily by 5 lengths, and I have to say it was a very nice victory. I could watch that race over and over. That's how a horse should really win. In my personal eyes, that was the horse's best victory by hands down. That was the horse's first start without Lasix. Well, not without Lasix, but without Lasix since his 2-year-olds campaign. Uh, and he ran well. Start before that was at Keelan, a mile and a quarter in the British Cup Classic. He finished seventh by 12 3/4 lengths that day, and he was bumped that day. He was weakening towards the end of the race. It wasn't his best run. Got 103 Beyer to keep in mind. And then Pennsylvania Derby, he won by 2 lengths at Parks Racing at a mile and eighth, and got a 106 Beyer speed figure. And he just really ran really well and was clear. A little congestion in this stretch, but congestion during the race, but it was a nice victory. Then finished third to American Pharoah on the Travers. In the Belmont, this horse finished second behind American Pharoah. He just as American Pharoah took off, he wasn't catching him that day. And I have to say, this horse had a pretty nice fourth place finish in the Derby. This horse did win the Wood Memorial here in New York. This horse has won 4 times. His last race is pretty impressive. He's on the improvement. Maybe this horse should the older you get, the more mature. I think this horse is maturing very good. He's not facing American Pharoah also, which he faced American Pharoah quite a lot last season, 3 times or something like that. Well, actually 4 times. So this time he's not, and he really proved himself coming out of those really tough races. I really like this horse here. Watch out for this horse. He's on my ticket. He might even be a top selection for me. So now let's get on to race to the 10 horse. Yeah, race 10, which is a horse. The 10 horse is Opportunity, another American shifter for Bob Baffert this time with Flavian Pratt, who's having an excellent season here in the States. Had an excellent year last year, but it got kind of cut short by injury back at Los Al in September. But Opportunity, he's at 12 to 1, and I think he's 12 to 1 is just being too nice. I don't think this horse has a chance at all. He's a definite throw. He won the San Antonio last time out. He was closing up well, but he almost got Imperative was really running his heart out too that day. But those horses were, it was I don't want to diss the horses, but it was like a B quality field in my eyes. He's facing A plus quality horses today. I think I'll have to do it, like I said, a hell of a lot. Start before that was in San Pasquale against California Chrome, who's in this race. He finished third by 2 1/4 lengths, and his start wasn't that good. He got up to third. It's just not a decent race, and then finished second in the Clark handicap behind FNX, who ran after that in the San Anita handicap, finished third, had a horrible race that day. Um, just looking at this horse, when he faces very good horses, he collapses. Well, not collapsed in the literal sense. He doesn't run it as good. He finished fourth in the Pacific Classic, that $1 million race. And Stephen Foster, this horse finished third in the San Antonio Invitational 2015 behind Share Belief and California Chrome. But if this race was in Southern California against different horses, he would be a use. But since it's the other side of the world, he's not a use for me. I don't think he'll just have to do a whole hell of a lot in my eyes. So that's my 2 cents on opportunity to the 11 horse, who is California Chrome. 3-2 in the odds for Victor Espinosa, for little Arthur Sherman, who trains this one. Last time out, ran at Meydan here in the Transgulf Electrical Trophy Stakes, won by 2 lengths that day, and he just really took off, won pretty easily. Very nice start for this horse. Great prep race for this race. Then at San Anita, mile 16th in San Pasquale on the 9th of January. First start since the 2015 what do you call that? Dubai World Cup. This race I'm handicapped, duh. But this horse won by 1/4 lengths. Was on or near the lead all throughout, and just won really good. He held his own. Very nice victory. And then last year's Dubai World Cup, this horse finished second by 2 3/4 lengths that day, and he got taken over by Prince Bishop. Going back to Prince. California Chrome could wait for a second. I have to tell you a story. When I was watching the Dubai World Cup last year, I was watching it live, and I saw Prince Bishop. The camera angle they had was the car on the rail, so you saw the whole field. And you noticed, if you look back at Prince Bishop, he's like moving his head, does not like the kickback. I believe William Buick took the horse wide, so he doesn't get the kickback. And I said at like the 6 furlong pole on the backstretch, this horse isn't winning. At the quarter pole, I said to myself, wow, this horse is really going to win. He ran really well, and I wouldn't have had this horse in a million years. The year before, I believe this horse finished like 14th, Prince Bishop. But back to California Chrome, he just finished second by 2 3/4 lengths. He just didn't have anything that day. He didn't have that extra oomph. Something you have to notice with this horse: if this horse has the lead at the top of the stretch, and he does not like letting horses in front of him, if he's by himself at the top of the stretch, he probably will win. If you just go by past races, he should really do well. Then in the going back to 2014, this horse finished third by a neck in the Breeders' Cup Classic. If you remember that, they had a 3-horse photo finish with Bayern, Toast in New York, and California Chrome. And if you remember that race, that was marked by controversy because Bayern took out half the field at the start of the race and didn't get taken down. If he got taken down, I wouldn't be here right now. I would probably be somewhere in like the Bahamas because I would have hit the superfecta for like $3. I played a straight superfecta. Toast of New York, California Chrome, who finished fourth. I think Shared Belief and Toneless. I think those were the horses. I would have just totally. I wouldn't be here right now. I would be down in the Bahamas. I still have to work for a day, so you know. But I was pretty disappointed. But he did run it was a very good third place finish for the first time he ran against older horses. So I think this horse should really run well. He's matured with age. That's the surefire thing. He's a 5-year-old now. They're going to retire him at the end of the year if he runs good today. I don't know what's next for this horse. Will they run him in maybe the Met Mile here in New York? Maybe run him in the Hollywood Gold Cup at San Anita, maybe the Pacific Classic. I would just keep an eye. If I was them, I would just keep this horse, run him in California since Breeders' Cup's at San Anita. I would just run him in, let's see, the Hollywood Gold Cup, maybe the San Diego, the Pacific Classic, and then the Goodwood, and then take him to Breeders' Cup Classic. And maybe if he runs good, maybe run him in like the turf race at Del Mar, one final start, or or like Los Alamitos could create a race at the end of the year, that would be perfect. But I think this horse is a surefire horse to use on my ticket. I have him all over the place. If he runs really good, I think he could win. But I don't like the odds of 3-2, so I might try it off of odds. I'm going to try and beat him. But I have him on a superfecta and exacta trifectas. I'm going to put him in a pick six for sure. I'm going to put him in a late double. I'm going to do a very nice late double ticket for $6 at the end of the video. You could watch get my double. But if you have to remember, this horse ran the Triple Crown last 2014, won the Derby, won the Preakness, finished fourth in the Belmont Stakes. And if you remember that, the big blow up by the owner after the race, that was good television. I have to say, good television. Reality TV. They should have called him after that race, the owner. But after the Belmont, he didn't. His best race after the Belmont has to be the in my eyes. He ran good on the turf in the Hollywood Derby, but the Brewers Cup Classic was a great race for this horse. I think he just it was just an exciting race, and if he would have finished second, like I said, I had a lot of money on exacta that day, on the superfecta. I had a lot of money on Toast in New York also. It did cash out a little bit on that race, but not as much as I would like to. But I think this horse will really do well. Gonna go with this one. And this, if you want a little fact, I believe this horse was the final stakes victory horse whoever won a stakes race at Hollywood Park. May Hollywood Park rest in peace. Probably one of my favorite race courses around the world, and anywhere in the world. But he won the King Gloria Stakes as a 2-year-old by 6 1/4 lengths. Really ran well. Victor Espinosa knows what he's doing with his horse. Knows his horse better probably than anybody else, other than Art Sherman. Art Sherman knows his horse really well. Art Sherman, probably the most underrated trainer in America. He knows a lot. So gonna use this horse. Don't like the odds, but he's definite. He has a incredible shot of winning. And now to the final horse in the field, the 12 horse Teletex, Sylvester D'Souza. He's 30-1 here. He's running in the Middle East at King Abdullah Racecourse in the KSA. What is that, Kazakhstan or something like that? I really don't know where that is. On February 13th in the Mosques Cup, that was $1 million race that day. Won by 5 1/4 lengths. It ran decent. I found a replay for this race, but it was in whatever native language they speak in that country. So yeah, keep that in mind. I couldn't. I just saw the number, and yeah. Then at the same race course on the 2nd of January, a mile and a half in the Crown Prince Cup Group 2 race, finished fourth by 4 3/4 lengths. Really didn't have that extra kick. This horse is before November the 14th, this horse is running in France. He ran in a few Group 3s. He ran the Prix de Hauteville Stakes at Longchamp. He finished second by 2.5 lengths. And then the Qatar Prix Niel Stakes in 2014, he finished second. Those were both at a mile and a half. He'll need a little bit more. I think this is more towards a mile and a half horse. I think he'll just have, this horse will have to do a hell of a lot to win. With that being said, he's not on any of my tickets. So now let me give you my selection for this race and what I'm going to do. I'm going to do a double this race. With the other races 8 and 9, I'm going to key in the Shahima Classic. Well, you could get my Shahima Classic, what I say about that race. I'm just going to give you the horse who I'm going to start my exact double with. I'm going to key in on the 7 horse in that race, who is, if I'm not mistaken, who is, I believe, Postpone. Yes, Postpone. I'm going to key that horse on top of my double for the first leg. Second leg, I'm going to go 60. So it's going to cost you, for $1 minimum base wager, this double will cost you $6. I'm going to key in on the 7. I'm going to go 2, 4, 6, 7, 9, 11. So key in on, I'm going to go 7 Postponed in the Shahima Classic, and Shahima Turf, whatever. And in the World Cup, I'm going to go with Mashwish, the 2 horse, the 4 horse Mutahij, the 6 horse Candy Boy, the 7 horse Vadamos, the 9 horse Frosted, and of course number 11 California Chrome. I'm gonna also do probably I'm gonna try and do a super and exacta key and a trifecta key, all for the minimum base wager, because I'm a broke college student. I very rarely do I play a superfecta for more than 10 cents, because, broke college student, and plus you can cover more, I think, in a 10-cent superfecta. You don't win as much, but but I on a ticket, I would probably, if I had to give you a top selection, it's very hard. I really like California Chrome here. Frosted I like also. So I would probably go 911 on top, and then key everything else on underneath for 10 cents. I would probably do an exacta box same way, 911 with 2, 4, 6, 7, 911. So yeah. So those are the horses I think could win 2, 4, 6, 7, 9, 11 as a top selection. California Chrome Frost are all having good races. I have them. I'm probably going to use all six in the late pick four, the pick six, the double. I'm definitely using all horses, so to keep me covered. But it's a very wide open race. So yeah, so good luck to all, and remember to follow me on Twitter, and remember to get my other selection for the undercard races here at Dubai, here at Meydan in Dubai. So good luck to all, and remember to join me in a few weeks for my Grand National video, and remember to join me for the next month here in America. We have some really good Derby preps coming up, so remember to join me on YouTube for that, and of course the Derby and the Triple Crown. So good luck to all.